Hello, everyone, and welcome to Style Esports Season 6. I'm your host, Shinkari, and I'm joined today by Baymax, and we have a great match for y'all lined up today. We have the Shadow Mustangs Unleashed versus Chicken Fried Nuggets. Baymax, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Should be a good series lined up for us. Like you said, Chicken Fried Nuggets are running, I think, one sub in Hookless Thresh, but Shadow Mustangs Unleashed have got them beat, rocking two subs of their very own. So I don't know quite what to expect from this game. Both these teams normally, in terms of their position on the ranked ladder, I would expect Shadow Mustangs to come out on top, because Shadow Mustangs are ranked 17th in Style Esports and the Nuggies are at 41st. But with all the subs coming into play, anything can happen.
Yeah, for sure. This is anyone's game at this point. The whole lot of unknowns hitting us today, and a whole lot of targeted bans coming out. Not a whole lot that you can see on a regular basis. Garen, Camille, and Echo for Shadow Mustangs, and Seraphine, Gragas, and Vayne being banned against Chicken Fried Nuggets. What do you think of these bans?
I don't know if the Chicken Fried Nuggets have quite done their homework on the current roster of SMU, because yes, Gragas is a preferred pick of Ewok, who is normally the top laner for SMU. Ewok is not the top laner this game. Now, I might try to look up Daitakin quickly and see if their sub plays any Gragas, but I don't think he does. It's more of a niche pick for Ewok, in which case, a bit of a wasted ban. But other than that, the bans, a lot of them look pretty standard. I think Vayne, Seraphine, Echo, Camille, all pretty good. Camille did get nerfed. I think the last patch or maybe the patch before, but still a reasonably strong champion.
Yeah. Yuumi being the first pickup for SMU here. Hecarim and Nautilus for Chicken Fried Nuggets. Pretty standard picks, I'd say. Nautilus is a little bit he's a little bit not in the meta right now, but he still fits around the same role as, say, an Alistar or Leona. Even though he doesn't exactly fit, he's still pretty good in his own right. Sivir now being picked up for Shadow Mustangs, which means the bot lane is now completely locked in. One more pick in this rotation. What do you think they're going to be locking in here?
Ooh, I don't know for sure. It's hard to predict lock-ins when you're looking at teams with so many subs available. That being said, I would think that SMU might look to prioritize matching jungle picks, as it looks like they're about to do. The Hecarim already being revealed for Chicken Fried Nuggies. Graves is the answer for SMU, which is not a crazy surprising pick, as Graves is Wokian's second most played champion in the jungle this season. First most played being Jarvan, which is not necessarily the best into a Hecarim who can already get over the side of that wall.
And Jhin being the final pickup for Chicken Fried Nuggets here. Another very strong champion, and I think a very good pickup to go with this Nautilus here. A very CC heavy bottom lane. What do you think of this bottom lane matchup now that we kind of see it unfold? This Yuumi and Sivir versus Nautilus and Jhin.
So I think Sivir is quite strong. Actually, I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on the Sivir pick. That being said, Sivir Yuumi is not really playing for lane that well, right? You're sort of trying to hyperscale into that late game aggression, which is when you can really sort of unlock the 3-item Sivir power spikes. And so in terms of playing for lane, having lane pressure, SMU not really strong in lane. But that being said, if you got a Sivir into a Nautilus, you can spell shield that either the depth charge or the dredge line and sort of stuff most engage attempts coming through from the Nuggies, from the Chicken Fried Nuggets. So I rather like SMU's bot lane, especially if they can pick the rest of the map champions that work well with On the Hunt, right? That Sivir ultimate, that is a huge team fighting ultimate that in the right circumstance can be really incredibly powerful, actually, but with certain compositions can feel quite underwhelming.
Yeah, so we finally go into the last bits of bans here. We have Shen being banned out for SMU, Lucian and Yorick being banned in for Chicken Fried Nuggets, and the final ban, Irelia. If you see a little red rectangle on your screen, just picture that's Lucian. Just picture that's a guy in a white cloak with two guns, and he's very upset. Orianna being now picked up, the mid laner for Chicken Fried Nuggets, a fairly safe pick. Regardless of the meta you're in, regardless of the team you're playing, Orianna will probably fit your team composition. So what do you think? SMU now has 2 picks in a row here. What do you think they're looking for here in their mid laner and their top laner with these bans?
It's I don't know, man. Their top laner is okay. I can base off team comps, right? I can just talk about what's good. I think Cho'Gath wouldn't necessarily be a bad like super mega tanky frontliner to just pick for the top lane and stand in front. In this game, I really do think that having a frontline presence is very important for SMU, right? You got an Ahri and a Sivir and a Graves. This is a late game scaling team that is pretty good at sieging once you get to that late game, but you got to have somebody that can deny the engage from the Nautilus and the Hecarim, and a big fat tank like a Cho'Gath, I think would be perfect to fill that void. That being said, I don't really know what SMU's top laner plays. He's going to lock into Darius instead, which is a bit more of an aggressive choice. Can still get quite tanky, but is not quite as good at eating those dredge lines as maybe something tankier.
Yeah, Darius we saw in the rematch of the century a couple nights ago, Cosmic Remix versus Flash Engage in Game 3. Didn't really work out to what Flash Engage was hoping, and ended up losing that match. So we'll see how Darius matches up against a set. Interesting.
That is interesting. I think that's a fine matchup for Darius. It's a bit weird to see the set get picked into Darius, unless Chicken Fried Nuggets are planning on playing around topside, which would make a lot of sense because Set Hecarim is quite a strong 2 versus 2. And I think, Graves is a champion that mostly just wants to farm up. There isn't a lot of synergy between Graves and Darius, especially if the Darius doesn't end up taking Ghost. They're going to have a hard time pressing a 2v2 and actually getting any kills, getting any executes coming through on the side of SMU. So Chicken Fried Nuggets might be trying to break open this game through the top half of the map, because not only is the Set Hecarim ridiculously strong, but we didn't talk about the Orianna much yet. Orianna Ball, the Shockwave, right on the back of not only the Hecarim, but also now the set. There's 2 fantastic methods on this team of delivering that ball straight onto the back line of SMU. I really like the setup here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Nautilus, Hecarim, and Set, like you said, very good ball delivery systems. And when you're going up against a team composition that has so much damage, like Sivir, Graves, Ahri, and Darius, you do want some sort of CC in order to just kind of keep them at bay, and give yourselves that space to slow down the fight and turn it into your favor. In terms of both of these team comps, who is your favorite?
I think I just convinced myself that it's the Chicken Fried Nuggets. I talked a lot about their team. Well, I mean, seriously, right? Like they've got a lot good going for them. Jhin is quite a strong bot laner. In terms of the bot lane matchup, I think SMU probably take the edge just because they're going to be really hard to engage on with that Sivir spell shield. But that being said, Chicken Fried Nuggets have drafted an incredibly strong top set of map to play through, and the Jhin and Nautilus aren't going to be getting bullied. They still should be able to farm and be a strong mid-game fighting presence. And meanwhile, I think SMU might have a very hard time stopping the Hecarim and the Orianna and the Set from running over their champions. But all that being said, and all that notwithstanding, Darius is very scary, especially if I don't know what Daitakin plays. If Daitakin plays a lot of Darius, but if he takes Ghost and is confident on the Darius pick, this is absolutely a champion that is very strong right now and has the potential to run over anyone. So I would put it slightly Chicken Fried Nuggets favored, but SMU, they definitely got a chance. I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a team diff right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think SMU has drafted a comp that looks pretty cohesive. There's nothing like too out of the ordinary. They have some decent initiation tools between Ahri and Sivir, and they have some great follow-up and some decent CC here and there. I just think my biggest problem is with the Graves pick. I'm not super convinced, especially after the nerfs to jungle camps when you pick a power farmer. Yeah. If you're gonna pick a champion that wants to power farm, surely you would want to pick someone like an Udyr who can be a frontline for this Sivir and Yuumi, especially with Sivir on your team. Like if the counter pick to Udyr is to run backwards, like I've said this numerous times, the counterplay to Udyr is to run backwards. Chem Tank and Deadman's Plate make sure that that's not possible. But with a Sivir ultimate, that boy can run real fast.
He can run real fast. And we haven't even mentioned how good the Sivir ultimate is with the Darius, actually, once it gets to team fighting. Assuming the Darius isn't already behind, which he might be, because I expect the Nuggets to play on top half of the map. Assuming Darius isn't already behind. But there's a lot of potential for SMU to sort of pop off in these mid-game team fights. But like you were talking about, I am also concerned for the Graves pick. I feel like it doesn't do that much early on. it's a decent, like he's a decent damage dealer, right? But if you have a damage dealer in the jungle, you've got to look one at the jungle matchup. So the other champion is a hacker, which is also pretty good at farming and also better at ganking and doing damage in those mid game fights and finding kills. And at the same time, you got to look at your own lanes, right? Where's the setup for Wokian to come in and do a bunch of damage and pop off? You gotta be able to get a hold of the enemy champion so that you can actually kill it and do damage to it. And there's just not that much setup from SMU unless Chicken Fried Nuggets sort of walk into it. Like, there are charms from Green Ninjas, and I have seen Green Ninjas on the Ari before, and she can do great things. So I'm not going to discount it. I'm not going to say there's no hope there. But if Postganator takes cleanse, and if Set just plays relatively safe, or Fiddy hangs out around the top side of the map, I think there's going to be very limited options for SMU to actually pick fights in this game. It feels like a comp where they might just slowly bleed out.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It looks like a team comp that needs to get ahead early in order to continue to press its advantage and put pressure throughout the map. But we'll see how that all pans out as we get into Summoner's Rift in just a little bit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a little bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Style Esports Season 6. We are on the Rift with you're telling me a Shadow unleashed these Mustangs versus you're telling me a chicken fried these nuggets? I am once again Shinkari, joined by Baymax, and we have the line of scrimmage drawn across the river. And we have a couple things we found a little bit interesting as we looked at the beginning parts of this this game here.
So yeah, when we were loading it, you asked me if I saw anything weird, and I was like, well, maybe no cleanse on Poskinator. I think that's pretty important, and that'll give SMU a window, maybe into the mid lane, into finding some leads there. But then you were like, bro, Dark Harvest Sivir. And I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure you always take lethal tempo, or maybe something else in the precision tree, fleet footwork, press the attack. Sometimes maybe are fine. Any of those things, arguable. Dark Harvest, I don't know about that one. I feel like the only reason you would take Dark Harvest is if you were trying to pop off early with some real cheese, and I don't see that happening. You picked the Yuumi for your support. Shadow Mustangs, the only way they make something happen early is probably playing around the top side of the map, playing off the Darius that is Ghost and the Ahri that has a Charm versus a cleanseless Orianna. But instead, it's Dark Harvest Sivir, and the world might just come to an end. At least my head might come to an end. I can handle that.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do now. Ducks are gonna start swimming underwater more. They're gonna become fish. Lobsters are gonna go back to becoming crabs, and this Jhin is gonna be dealing a lot of damage in this bottom lane with that early level 1 thanks to Nautilus as well.
Yeah, an early level 1. I think he meant to say early level 2, which is fair, but early level 1, earlier than most. I'm sorry. I want to talk about the Ghost in the top lane. While Forgotten Shot and Revive Paragon are doing a bit of bullying on the Pashmina down there in the bot lane, I want to talk about the Darius, because especially with a Ghost, this is not a bad matchup at all for Darius. Hookless Thresh gonna have to be careful. Whoa, I didn't even see that.
Yeah. First blood onto Yuumi. Yuumi has not been attached to Sivir for a decent chunk of this bottom lane, this early level 2. So just I'll say interesting play here by Pashmina here on the Yuumi here by not attaching to the Sivir. Just a little odd.
It's very odd, right? Because you got a Sivir that has a spell shield that will block the hook every time. You should never have to get hooked in this lane ever, right? Like Slick Drake and Pashmina should never be able to get hooked.
Yeah, this is just Revive Paragon and Forgotten Shot just doing as much as they possibly can to bully Sivir and Yuumi out of this lane, because like you said, this is a scaling comp. They want to get to that late game. If they can deny that early farm, they can also deny Dark Harvest stacks as well.
Loki, and looks like he might be thinking about trying to pour some water onto this burning fire in the bottom lane for SMU, but I don't even know if they're strong enough to win that 3 versus 2. Loki might have to settle for just clearing out some vision with that sweeper. Now Daidakin picking potentially a 1v2 in the the top lane. He has the Ghost. He can make for the fight if he wants
chunk of damage. Yeah, he gets the sweet spot on the Q here. Here comes Set and Orianna to back up. Fiddy is just going to be able to back away as Wokian trying to get the Scuttle Crab as the Jhin and Nautilus continue to exert their huge amounts of pressure in the bot lane here.
He's trying and he is going to get it. So a small consolation prize for SMU as they get bullied and pushed around on the bottom side of the map. Daidakin doing a lot of damage top lane, at least mitigating some of that jungle pressure from Fiddy. Looking for a pretty heavy trade onto Hookless Thresh, but is actually going to lose out on it thanks to that big fat haymaker shield. And you got to be careful when trading against a Silas, or not a Silas, a Set. He lands that true damage, you're going to be in trouble.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Daidakin is trying his best to get. Oh, he did get the sweet spot. He's going to get a huge amount of bleed damage. The Conqueror is going to proc. He's going to pick up the kill. That's going to be a kill up in the top lane, going over to the Darius.
Yeah. Good news for Hookless Thresh is he does have teleport, so he won't miss too many minions for dying there. But a snowballing Darius is always terrifying. And yeah, Daidakin, sure, as we mentioned, he's getting engaged on.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be an immediate flash. Very well played from him, but that is a resource that was pretty easily taken away by Hookless Thresh here. He did have to spend his teleport in order to do so, but I feel like just getting Darius away from these minions at this point, 100% worth it. Totally agree.
Worth it. The flash is the big thing, right? Because before that, Hookless Thresh had burned flash. Daidakin had only used Ghost. And that's part of why Darius is so deadly. You take 2 combat summoner spells, you force flash with the Ghost, and you still got it to go for the blood the next time around. And now Hookless Thresh has taken that important cooldown away from Dedekin. It's going to be a little bit harder for Dedekin to run him down for the next few minutes, which is actually hugely important because the flash gap top lane on a Darius that has a pickaxe off first recall, that's almost a guaranteed kill if he's got flash and you don't. Like, that's terrifying. So Hookless Thresh can try to stabilize the lane a little bit here.
And Tidekin looking for something here. He finds out Fiddy in the jungle here, but he might have bitten off just a little bit more than he could chew. He's knocked back towards the set. He's going to be taken incredibly low. That's the Haymaker. And that's going to be a kill going over to Hookless Thresh in the top lane.
Now, well done by the Chicken Fried Nuggets. I do believe that Dedekin's wave might even still be frozen here outside of Hookless Thresh's turret, which is, again, denying more and more CS, giving Hookless Thresh a chance to catch up. And I want to praise Fiddy for playing around the top side of the map, right? We talked about supporting this set in the 1v1, being there for to keep his top laner alive, because really the only way into this game for SMU, the only easy way anyway, is potentially through that Darius in the top lane. And shutting that down early can go a long way towards shutting the Shadow Mustangs down, especially when bot lane is taking care of itself right now. That being said, Wokian is down here on a ward, spotted out, but attempting to provide some pressure for his AD carry.
Yeah, both junglers level 5 and a Scuttle Crab down here. There might be a team fight soon, especially with that dragon on the table as well.
Ooh, Scuttle Crab?
Yep. Oh, there is immediately the Shadow's onslaught. He's not going to be able to land, though. He's going to back away. Oriana's here to support. Looks like both sides are backing away. That might be the dragon start, perhaps.
Yeah, Fiddy should be pretty free to start this up if he wants to. He's got the bot lane pressure. Wokian has already been forced to flash away with his tail between his legs. Vision control firmly established. And meanwhile, mid lane pressure in Poskinator's control. Up about 15 CS on this Oriana, gets the shove mid lane, able to roam down. The entire bottom side of the map is totally in control of the Chicken Fried Nuggets, and the Ocean Dragon is their reward. And Hookless Thresh is even safe on the top side of the map because, again, Dedekin, no flash, slow pushing a wave into Hookless Thresh's turret. You're not going to be able to die of a full HP Shen, not by yourself anyway. Wokian's still on the bottom side of the map. Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, Slick Drake just being a little too liberal with his spell shield usage, used it to try to tank up a Jhin trap in order to get, maybe deny some sort of utility from the Jhin
You're
side,
against the Nautilus.
Immediately punished by the Nautilus, as we said. So now Sivir and Pashmina have to use their best, do their best to kind of survive in this lane just a little bit longer and punish whenever they dive just a little too deep.
All right, so some good news for SMU. Top lane, after a wave has been slow pushed into Hookless Thresh's turret, they have been able to start up this Rift Herald, and they have not yet been spotted on vision. Fiddy, meanwhile, clearing his own Raptors and red buff, completely oblivious to the jungle objective that's being snuck right out from under his nose. So slight win, a good macro play from SMU looking for that Herald. While they cannot contest the dragon, they get at least something back.
Yeah, and this is... we might have a little bit of a fight in the bot lane here. Revive Paragon looking to contest some of these wards here, but it looks like they're just going to back away. Looks like, and also the Rift Herald was picked up by Shadow Mustangs here, so this is going to be probably something to use maybe in the bot lane to help out and give a little bit of pressure. Tidekin here, he's gonna be slammed into the air. There's the Haymaker, and there's the kill for Hookless Thresh as well. That is amazing. This is completely
that's so bad different. For SMU. That's so bad for SMU, right? Ghost, Dedekin used Ghost there too, which means he burned a summoner spell. Hookless Thresh burned nothing. He still got the flash up. And no teleport on Dedekin. Look at the giant wave crashing in the top lane. It's a cannon wave and a caster minion wave after that. It's 2 waves, one of which is a cannon wave. So devastation in the top lane. Dedekin is going to be maybe a level and a half behind off of that play. Totally losing basically all the pressure that he's had in this top lane. He gets solo killed by the champion that, he can do well into. This is the one lane that SMU, I would expect Dedekin to win the 1v1, or at least not get solo killed. And it's fallen apart. And now 1 kill to 3, 2,000 gold. A 2,000 gold lead for the chicken fried nuggets. Excuse me, I almost said something else. 2,000 gold lead for the chicken fried nuggets. And they're starting to run away with this game.
Yeah, this is definitely something that we were talking about. We talked about Shadow Mustangs needing to take control of this early game, at least by playing safe, so that they could get into the mid game relatively powerful, so that they could start to run away with the game. But now we see Sivir not even being able to walk up to her minion wave. We see Darius losing 2 waves of experience in the top lane, and we're seeing Ahri fall behind in CS in the mid lane.
We're seeing Wokian getting face checked by Fiddy.
Yeah, that's a decent chunk of damage. It doesn't look like there's a fight down there, but there is a fight in the top lane. Didakin, once again, going to fight Hookless Thresh. Not going to be able to find the sweet spot on the spin, but he's going to meet the sweet spot on the Haymaker, though. That's a whole lot of damage.
And now a roam coming down into the bottom side jungle. Fiddy and Poskinator using that mid lane pressure to keep control of vision in Wokian's bottom side jungle. That's part of why all this early game has gone so well for the Chicken Fried Nuggets, is pretty much vision domination of Wokian, almost always knowing where this Graves is, being able to play her out at top lane. Hookless Thresh got the showstopper. He's going to look for a dive almost for sure. You got to be so careful with that.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be the immediate suplex underneath the turret. Not even going to phase him. Hookless Thresh kicking up another kill on the Darius in the top lane.
And Wokian showed to try to do something, try to trade something back, and Hookless Thresh is fine. He absorbs that top lane pressure. He gets vision on Wokian, doesn't even die for it, still gets the solo kill, still is going to be allowed to push another wave into the turret of Didakin, maybe get into the turret play, or at the very least deny more CS to the Darius. Top lane is just out of control in favor of the Chicken Fried Nuggets. Even bottom lane, right? At least bottom lane, Slick Drake and Pashmina are sort of, they're actually ahead in CS, which is a bit surprising. Almost 100 CS on the Sivir. So kudos to Slick Drake for that. But it's still going to be quite some time before this Dark Harvest Sivir really can come online. And meanwhile, 4 kills to 1. There is a set snowballing out of control. A ridiculously strong, almost 10 CS per minute Orianna, who's even out farming Slick Drake. And the next dragon is spawning on the map right now. Teleport, bot lane.
Yeah, that is going to be huge. That's a Sivir and a Yuumi trapped in the middle of this lane here. They're going to try to use the spell shield, the lost chapter, the run for their lives. They're going to be able to get away with just the skin of their teeth. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, that's a huge amount of damage on a Fiddy. He's going to try to use the Unleash Shadows to try to get the kill, but he's not going to be enough. That is a kill going over to the Graves, and also a decent chunk of plates to both of them as well.
But now they might face check into a shockwave. Poshkina held on to that cooldown. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that's Green Ninja's immediately caught out. That's a huge chunk of damage right off the bat. Here comes the curtain call. The first shot is out. The second can't find the target. Neither can the third. Can the fourth? The fourth will find the kill as well. And now Wokian is underneath Poskinator. He forced to dash forward, trying to dodge away from the damage. Sivir is now here to help as well, but that's going to be Waskian going down to the command dissonance. Poskinator picking up another kill for himself.
Yeah, and Fiddy's back on the map. Slick Drake is on a reset timer, which means second dragon of the game, almost certainly going to go over to the Chicken Fried Nuggets. Didakin has roamed down mid lane to try to support his team, but he's going to be forced to catch a wave and not much else. Meanwhile, Hookless Thresh still top lane, still holding on to that ghost, is going to get more turret plating and more solo gold for himself for free. Set pushes turrets so fast, he's going to probably knock this turret down to just 1 plate left. Maybe not even that. Look how far away Green Ninjas is. This is going to be first turret going down. 4 Chicken Fried Nuggets and a dragon picked up on the other side of the map. That's a huge play.
Yeah, that's a huge swing. Now 3.6k gold separates these two teams at 14 minutes into the game. And this is, I wanted to quickly mention that this is what happens when you take 2 combat summoners. You better be winning your lane, or else the amount of global pressure that champions that take teleport can push on you are just immense. Because, Yuumi getting rooted up here in the top lane, going to force to be used exhaust, but he's going to immediately get exploded here by the Nautilus and Jhin, with a little help from the Orianna as well. And now the rest of the jungle is the target. Forgotten Shot pick up the red buff here. Looks like he is going to find it. That's the hook going to be found on the Darius here. He's now rooted up and in place. He's taken so low, and that's going to be another kill. Unleash Shadows going to find the Ahri. She's going to dash away as best as she can with her life. And that's going to be a 2 for 0 in the jungle here, and a red buff going over to the red side.
I thought we might get a case of deja vu with Green Ninjas, but unfortunately for Forgotten Shot, this time around his curtain call is not available. So Fried Nuggets are going to have to just sort of settle for this mid lane turret and a Herald, which isn't really settling if you got a kill, a turret, and a jungle objective for it.
Yeah, if that's what we're settling for, then right, put me down for whatever they're doing. I want to settle for that, and whatever they're actually looking for. Jeez, man. Oh, can he get the steal?
Getting contested. There's Smite is available for Wokian, but didn't get close enough to use it.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be Wokian caught out here. He's rooted up. There's the aftershock. There's the hook. There's the snare. That's gonna be a kill going over to Poskinator. Here comes the curtain call. Detonator's gonna try to stay alive for as long as he can, but that's gonna be the kill going over to Fitty. 2 kills now on the top side of the jungle, and I believe they picked up a Herald for themselves. Yep, that's gonna be Hickless Thresh picking up the Herald. On the bot lane, Slick Drake and Pashmina trying to pick up as much gold as they can in response.
They're trying, but it's going to be real hard to mitigate the disaster happening on the top side of the map. Real hard indeed. A little bit of a pro tip, second Herald isn't really worth all that much. It's important, sure, and if you can go for the steal, maybe not a terrible idea, but at the same time, if you're going to lose a team fight for it and still not get the Herald, that is not a risk that almost anybody should be willing to take, and that is the exact risk SMU took, and they are losing their mid lane turret for it. They're getting Shelly another charge onto that mid lane inhibitor turret as well, and the gold gap just keeps getting further and further apart, ever increasing in favor of Chicken Fried Nuggets. And sure, bottom side of the map, Slick Drake managed to trade back a turret. So finally, in terms of objectives, SMU have gotten on the map. That's not going to be good enough, right? They're down 6,000 gold. 17 minutes in. Baron hasn't even spawned yet, but certainly Chicken Fried Nuggets in a position where they control basically the entire map. It's 2 kills to 10. SMU don't have a foothold anywhere. Good CS on Slick Drake. Again, 133 CS, that's great. You got to get that to like at least 200 or more before the Sivir is really going to start to come online and have an opportunity to carry these team fights. And you're not going to last that long. This game is not going to last that long.
Yeah, not to mention it picked up a Mana Moon before the Mythic item, so it's going to be even longer here. Didakin picking up trying to find the kill on the Forgotten Shot, going to deal a decent chunk of damage, going to find the sweet spot on the spin. Now Forgotten Shot is going to force his flash. Conqueror has procced, and he's going to be able to find the shutdown gold here, but there comes Revive Paragon trying to pick up the kill as well. He's going to be able to find it with the Aftershock proc, and now here comes Wokian trying to deal the last bit of damage. Revive Paragon still alive, and now here comes Fidian from the side, the next member, but it's one by one. These folks are trailing in, and now Poskinator going to try to fight green ninjas on the side here, but it's not going to be enough. He's with the help of Pashmina. They're going to be able to find the kill. Wokian is also able to get away, so a team fight in the favor of Shadow Mustangs unleashed in the top side here. Meanwhile, Slick Drake going to be trying to fight against Hookless Thresh as this fight continues across the entire map. Slick Drake able to get away. So
daily reminder, a Darius with Flash and a Stride Breaker still can run down an 80 carry. Although, by the way, pro tip, Jin's 4th shot does execute damage. If Forgotten Shot had used the bouncing grenade before the 4th shot instead of after, probably would have found the kill on Didakin. So mechanical misplay leading to I don't know if disaster is the right word, but certainly a bit of a drawback there for Chicken Fried Nuggets. A bit of a wake-up call. They still can lose this game. Nice team fight win for SMU. Although Dragon has spawned back on the Rift, and it is once again Chicken Fried Nuggets who have got the tempo advantage, who are on the scene first, and who have all of the vision control in the area. So 3rd Dragon of the game, 1st Infernal Dragon of the game, easily going to get picked up by Chicken Fried Nuggets. The tempo is still in their hands, and make no mistake, but SMU, they're showing signs of life.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this really, that last team fight, if they've proved anything, is that this is Chicken Fried Nuggets games to lose. That they need to make sure that if they are making plays, that they're not super greedy, and that they aren't flexing too hard on their opponents, even though they are up about 4.2k gold at this point. That as long as they are making measured plays, they should be able to close this game out pretty easily.
Yeah, the big thing for me is basically just don't throw before that dragon spawns, right? Keep control of the map, keep vision control, keep farming, and in 5 minutes when Infernal Soul spawns, you'll probably win the game. Because Infernal Soul is really hard to come back from. And, you know, can they do that? Can Chicken Fried Nuggets keep themselves alive for that long? Probably they can. SMU burned a lot of flashes in the last fight, and guess who's getting dove right now?
Yes. Slick Drake has taken a whole lot of damage, going to use On the Hunt to get away underneath the turret, and that might actually be Slick Drake getting away? Oh my god, I thought for certain we were going to be talking about how Slick Drake got immediately eradicated there, but he was able to keep it alive. Very, very well played by Slick Drake there. So, jeez. Had to pop literally everything. I believe, yep, heal and flash and On the Hunt were used. So those are 3 tools that Sivir is not going to have for the next team fight.
Although Flash also burned from Hookless Thresh means 1 fewer way for Chicken Fried Nuggets to pick a fight and engage onto the back line of SMU. Going to be that much less reliable. And Hookless Thresh is going to get a turret for his reward in the bottom side of the map, so getting a little bit more global gold opened up for his team here. Baron Nashor has spawned onto the Rift. 21 minutes in now, and we see Chicken Fried Nuggets trying to establish so much control over this top side of the map. They're looking for a fight. They're trying to potentially force on Green Ninja's mid lane if they get the chance, but it is pretty difficult to force onto an Ahri, especially with a Yuumi.
Yeah, this is them just trying to exert as much pressure as they can and scare Shadow Mustangs Unleashed just away from this Baron buff here. And I think that's what's going to give them the edge. Set now moving, but it looks like they might be...
There's a flank from Dyneken.
Yeah, let's see if it happens here. He's not over the wall just yet. There he goes. He uses the flinch, and there is the start of the fight. That's a charm. That's a root. Revive Paragon might be the first to go down, but that's not true. Wokian is going to find Forgotten Shot, and that's a double kill right off the bat. And that is a 2 for 0 in this mid lane here. Shadow Mustangs Unleashed, picking up a win for themselves.
A nice look from Shadow Mustangs, but realistically, that should never be allowed to happen, right? Chicken Fried Nuggets just had total control over the top side of SMU's jungle. They should have had every possible avenue for a flank from Dyneken to get there. Warded. Misplay on the warding coverage from Chicken Fried Nuggets. Left a gap for Dyneken with a flank that may ruin the entire game for the Nuggets. Baron now in the sights of SMU. I don't know if they can do it, though. Their health bars are low. 3 members of the Nuggets are still alive. Baron is taking a long time to die. Looks like SMU are going to have to back off for now.
Yeah, if both teams are backing off, I would like to point something out that maybe you could enlighten me. Maybe I missed something. But there's a Duskblade of Drekthar on this Sivir here. Am I a boomer? So, am I missing something here?
I do know Duskblade can be built on occasion. I don't think it's terrible. I think Gale Force this game would make just a ton more sense. Dodge out of the Deadly Flourish, dodge out of the Dredge line, get behind the Hecarim so he can't shove you into his team, right? There's a lot of stuff that Gale Force would help to dodge. Duskblade is not that bad on Sivir. That being said, if you do build Duskblade, you still don't take Dark Harvest. Now Dyneken bot lane on Postinator being disrespected again.
Yeah, that's going to be the Stridebreaker used immediately. That's going to be the ultimate use for him. But here comes Hookless Thresh into the bottom lane here. Dyneken trying to heal up as much as he can, but he's going to be pulled back into the fight with Hookless Thresh, and he's going to go down.
Okay, that actually, I think, was really, really good for Chicken Fried Nuggets. No more flash on Dyneken. He can't look for any more crazy engages. It's going to be that much harder for him to flank. Plus, teleport on Postinator. Take a look at that dragon timer. 25 seconds. Right after Postinator spawns, he's going to be able to teleport into this fight. It could be a 5v4 for the Nuggets, just like that. And this is for the Dragon Soul. So it'll take a lot of time for Dyneken to get back on the map. And sure, SMU, for now, they're able to control some vision with that Orianna ball dead, but it's not going to last that long. Teleport is here.
Yeah, Postinator is back up. Dyneken still has a couple more seconds and a lot of ground to cover in order to get into this team fight here. There's the teleport. Now Orianna is in the fight. That's the dragon at half HP. Are they going to be able to contest it here? Slick Drake with a Q over the wall, but that's going to be Infernal Soul going over to Chicken Fried Nuggets. They're going to try to engage here. Here comes the horsey. He's going to get right in there. That's a huge amount of damage. They're all pulled into the curtain call, and that's already a huge amount of damage. The double kill for the Jhin here. Fiddy is looking for more, and that's a huge amount of damage on a Wokian. Oh my gosh, but he's going to live by just the skin of his teeth. Dyneken is now in the fight, and that's going to be a huge chunk of damage onto the Hookless Thresh here. He's still taking up the turret, but that's a gigantic shield. It's not going to be enough, and now they're going to clean up the last kill here. A good old double, triple, and ace for Chicken Fried Nuggets.
All right, that was sloppy, but it works. So if you got an Infernal Dragon Soul, you're allowed to force a little bit harder than you otherwise would be. Chicken Fried Nuggets, 5 kills for 1. They find an ace onto SMU. They also find red buff, Raptors, and just about everything else in SMU's bottom side jungle, including a control ward. Just for laughs, just to put the final nail in that coffin. And now the gold gap, which had slowly been gaining in favor of SMU, they were bringing it back a little bit. It's now ballooned to be about as big as it ever was, close to 7,000, 8,000 gold, separating these teams now. And with Infernal Soul in the pockets of Chicken Fried Nuggets, they have once again reasserted pretty much total control over this game. That being said, Sivir is at that 200 CS point, starting to come online, approaching a third item. I don't think it's going to be enough. Infernal Soul is very difficult to overcome, especially if Baron gets picked up in the next few minutes by Chicken Fried Nuggets, and they are looking at it. Baron could just end everything for SMU.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see so often that the Sivir is in the bot lane trying to farm, like, hold on, guys, I just need 5 more minutes. But, dog, in 5 more minutes, this game is going to be over. You need to be with your team contesting this Baron, and it's going to take way too long for you to get up there. Baron already started up by Chicken Fried Nuggets here. They know Sivir is in the bot lane. They know where Shadow Mustangs Unleashed is in this jungle here. They have it all warded up. And it might just be a free Baron for them.
Yeah, which I think is unfortunate. I don't think SMU should have given that away. As you can see, there's actually not that much DPS on the side of the Chicken Fried Nuggets to actually kill that Baron. It took him a while. And Baron does damage. Now Hookless Thresh looking for Didakin, trying to find a fight.
Yeah, he's going to be suplexed into the team. Didakin already taking a huge chunk of damage. The Conqueror is going to proc, but here comes Fitty in for the side. Kill for the Hecarim.
Kill for the Hecarim, indeed. Didakin dying, finding that great screen for the 9th time this game, not having a stellar performance. Wokian now.
Yeah, Wokian going to be caught up by the revived Paragon and the Jhin. That's going to be a free cat to a good home, and that home is 6 feet under. That's going to be 2 kills going over to Chicken Fried Nuggets, as now Green Ninjas and Slick Drake are the only 2 members of the team left alive.
Which is maybe fitting, because I feel like they're the only 2 members of the team that have had a pretty good performance thus far. Although in Wokian's defense, it's hard to do anything when you're constantly on wards in your own jungle and getting caught out at every second of the game. So SMU, I did say a draft at one point. I didn't think it was going to be completely a draft diff. It is feeling quite that way. The Dredge line on a Slick Drake, not going to be spell shielded. Gonna have to use the on the hunt to get away from that one. Mid lane inhibitor broken open. First inhibitor of the game going down in favor of Chicken Fried Nuggets, and their onslaught is not over yet.
Yeah, they're going to be able to find a charm on a revived Paragon, but he's going to immediately flash away as they might be trying to protect this cannon minion. Nah, they're just going to back off here and wait for the next wave, is my guess.
Take the blue buff, take the wolves.
They're going to reset.
What, you're not even going to take the Gromp when it spawns? What are you resetting for? Take those camps. Don't let anything. Don't let SMU get anything.
Yeah,
well,
just take their everything. Poskinator also grabbing a sweeper brush here, but he might be caught out. Here comes Graves. Yeah, he's fine. He's out of here.
He is fine.
Wait a minute, Poskinator.
He's actually looking for Slick Drake. This is so unbelievably greedy. You get the heck out of there, Poskinator. What are you doing, my guy?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
And even if we look,
he's
for a
going
second,
back. Why are you? What are you looking for? What do you want? What do you? What? He just moved in. He just moved into the pit so that he could recall in the pit instead. I don't understand.
He's really looking for the Sivir. He really wants to find the Sivir, apparently. Oh man, Forgotten Shot gonna use the Gale Force just to get a little closer to Didakin here, but he's not gonna get close enough to land that 4th shot just yet. The rest of the team looking to answer this push in the bottom side here. Sivir waiting in the wings here, does have on the hunt, is going to charm land onto Nautilus, but that might have been the engagement Nautilus wanted. They're going to pick up the turret here as the push continues on bot and top.
No need to force too hard right now for Chicken Fried Nuggets until they get mid lane wave pushing in, until they get top lane wave pushing in. Take advantage of the super minions. Take advantage of the fact that Elder Dragon is spawning in 42 seconds, and you have total control over SMU's bottom side jungle. There is no world where this Elder Dragon shouldn't be free for Chicken Fried Nuggets unless they misexecute.
Yeah, what also might be free is the Sivir here, but Shockwave was used and not able to find the Sivir just yet. The rest of the team is here to answer. It looks like they're just peeling backwards to find this dragon here. It is spotted out by a ward here.
Big blunder. That could be a big blunder from Pokenator because the Shockwave isn't available now. That might give SMU a window where they can find a fight, but I still kind of doubt it.
Yeah, this looked like this might be the fight to win the game. This might be the last fight of the game, so keep your eyes peeled. Green Ninjas. Oh no, okay, so the curtain call is going to be immediately canceled as Didakin is down in the middle of the team, but Koskander is already going to be able to find the kill on Ari. That's huge. Now the rest of the team is following through, and the onslaught of Shadow is already huge. Didakin is going to go down immediately against 3 people, and that's another free cat, and meanwhile, that's a free cowboy in the top lane, and that's an ace, and that might also be the game. Teleport's coming into the base here as they are going right for the Nexus.
Might be the game. That is the game, 100%. Nearest death timer is 20 seconds on Green Ninjas. Meanwhile, teleport into the base from Hookless Thresh and Postinator. Game 1, Chicken Fried Nuggets. It wasn't perfect, but it was convincing in my mind anyway. Pretty easy 1-0 up on SMU.
13,000 gold separated those two teams at the very end, and you know, you wonder how this all went wrong. And at one point we saw signs of life from Shadow Mustangs Unleashed a little bit towards that mid game there, getting a decent couple of good team fights for themselves, but eventually Chicken Fried Nuggets just slapped their faces a little bit, got their act together, and immediately went and swept up the rest of the game there. I really want to give a shout out to the set player there, of course. Very, very well played by him across the map, putting pressure and being a very good split pushing threat, especially when you're ahead. If you have a split pusher with teleport, having that pressure across the map is very, very important.
Yeah, the pressure is everything. I feel like the top lane the top lane falling apart for SMU so early on was disastrous. That was the key to their composition, was the Darius had to be useful in the middle of the game, and without that pressure there was no foothold anywhere for SMU on the map. Maybe you could have looked mid lane for a charm from Green Ninjas, but at the same time, Green Ninjas was behind the entire game, right? Green Ninjas was down CS basically the entire game to Postinator. So mid lane, no pressure. Top lane, the lane that was supposed to have pressure, no pressure, no losing out in the 1v1s. And sure, that's not only Dedekin's fault, right? Fiddy did a great job of playing around the top side early and punishing Dedekin once or twice for overstepping. But at the same time, there were a couple times where Dedekin just got solo killed when he probably shouldn't have let that happen, when he could have been avoided relatively easily. So it's kind of rough.
Yeah, we also saw a bunch of mechanical issues across the entire rift. So let's see what can be cleaned up between games 1 and 2. But between then, we'll take just a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be back with Shadow Mustangs Unleashed versus Chicken Fried Nuggets Game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll have more League of Legends in just a little bit. Hello, everyone. We are back. Chicken Fried Nuggets versus Shadow Mustangs Unleashed. Game 2. Picks and Bans. Style Esports Season 6. I am Shinkari, once again joined by Baymax as we are getting into these picks and bans. Very, very targeted bans, should I say. Annie, Victor, Seraphine, Camille, Garen, and now one more for Shadow Mustangs Unleashed. What do you think about these picks and bans so far?
What I think is that Xerath and Malzahar are left open, and guess who just came back onto the Rift? It is your boy Merlin, no longer being subbed out, the mid laner for SMU, ready to try to make things right for his team, moving into the second game on the Rift, and with that also Green Ninja's swapping back to her rightful position in the support role. So, you know, SMU, they didn't really come out swinging in game one, but their composition, their team, hopefully will be a bit more cohesive with their mid laner back and their support where she should be. Things are looking a little bit better if you're an SMU fan.
Yeah, for real. When you have to use so many subs and have to move people around, it makes things just that much more awkward. So I'm really hoping that Shadow Mustangs Unleashed can give us a little bit of a better showing this time, to say the least. And I'm excited to see folks on more comfortable picks. Chicken Fried Rice picking up the Ezreal here.
For sure. The Vayne potentially going to get locked in for SMU. I like Vayne. I don't know about first picking Vayne so early in draft, but pairing it with Lulu, you know, Lulu's strong. Vayne Lulu is not necessarily a bad combination, but I feel like Vayne is a champion that is fairly punishable. Maybe not in terms of the laning phase, now that Ezreal's been locked in for Chicken Fried Nuggets, but in terms of like, what do you do if the enemy team doesn't pick tanks and just outranges you? That could be a blind spot for SMU. The Blitzcrank locked in for Chicken Fried Nuggets. Again, that's also a weird pick considering it's paired with an Ezreal. Buy your Philosopher's
Stones. Make sure you equip your quintessences. We're going back to season 2, baby. It's Ezreal Blitzcrank bot lane. Let's go.
Why would you pair? I don't understand pairing Blitzcrank with Ezreal unless you're just planning on roaming and leaving the bot lane, which maybe that's what Nuggets are planning on doing. Leave the Ezreal in the 1v2 and just send a Blitzcrank around the rest of the map. But still weird to first pick that when Merlin is back and can play Malzahar. And oh boy, he's got a free spell shield to block that hook. So good luck gank in mid lane. Malzahar locked in for Merlin. Veigar locked in for Chicken Fried Nuggets. This is a bit of a change of pace, right? Veigar is a far cry from the Orianna that we saw in game one. Much less lane pressure. Did get a buff in this last patch. His Baleful Strike cost less mana, but that is not going to be enough to put him in a point where he can contest the wave control with the Malzahar.
Yeah, we now see the second rounds of bans coming through. Shen and Gragas locked in. Set being hovered, another powerful pick from the previous game, is going to be locked in and banned away. Yorick is going to be the final ban here, and now we have SMU now with their picks.
And so far, I hesitate to say it, but I think SMU have outdrafted Chicken Fried Nuggets. That could change with the next two picks. We'll see what comes through, but Chicken Fried Nuggets have got to get something strong in the early game in the jungle position. And I'm going to try to look at their team and see what they play. I'm not seeing too many crazy champions. The Hecarim could maybe be something that's looked for again, except that, oh boy, it's banned away. Elise, Echo, potentially on the table. But AP champions, what's a strong AD champion that could get picked up here? Nocturne? Tortugi does play Nocturne. But that's not who Udyr is.
Let's see. Udyr. Maybe Skarner, who knows? I mean, a lot of these champions,
you need damage. Olaf, that's perfect. Olaf, that is exactly what they need.
I mean,
that is exactly what they need. I'm glad.
Talk about a champion that should have been more obvious for us.
Yeah, like, how did I forget about Olaf? I'm thinking like Echo jungle maybe. Like
they could pick up. They could pick up Kled. Kled's pretty good in the jungle, right?
Okay,
start digging for straws.
I think Olaf, let me explain why I think Olaf is so good for Chicken Fried Nuggets. So far, mid lane, no priority, right? Malzahar runs over that matchup. Veigar is all utility, no damage early on. Bottom lane, same thing. It's an Ezreal Blitzcrank. Ezreal does not have the damage to pair with the Blitzcrank early. You're not going to one-shot somebody, even with the hook, through a Lulu shield. Now, that being said, that is a good lane for the Blitzcrank to roam. You leave the lane, you get out, you go somewhere else, but you can't really go mid lane because it's against the Malzahar. So what can you do? You pair that Blitzcrank with the Olaf, you run around the map. Same thing mid lane too. Olaf makes that 2v2 so much stronger. If you got a heavy crowd control mid laner with a strong utility tool like that Veigar cage, you gotta pair that with some damage. If you pair that with more crowd control, you pair that with a tank like Skarner, you're gonna be done for. You need to actually kill the person you get in the cage, and Olaf is really good at running that person down.
Kale being the final lock-in for SMU here. A bit of an interesting pick to go into the Malphite for sure, but definitely 2 hyper carries for SMU here. A decent initiation tool with Warwick, a great peeling tool with Lulu, and a great mid lane comfort pick with Malzahar. I am loving SMU's picks here.
The Olaf is a bit, or not the Olaf, the Warwick is a bit strange to me. It seems in my mind to be sort of just a worse version of the Olaf in a lot of ways. Not super good into what Chicken Fried Nuggets are running. I do like the Kale. Should be able to scale fairly freely into the Malphite matchup. Not a lot of pressure from getting one shot there, especially if you're quick enough with that ultimate to not get hit by the unstoppable force and to block that burst damage. You can sort of nullify any kill threat coming through from that lane with the Kale. So I like that pick. I do think, I think overall I'd like SMU's comp significantly more than Chicken Fried Rice's, or maybe not that, but I think SMU's comp is significantly easier to execute on, right? You got Merlin mid lane on a comfort pick. If you're the Blitzcrank, you're trying to hook, you're looking for hooks on a Vayne and a Warwick and a Malzahar. Like, these are not easy champions to hook. Even if you hook someone, the damage has got to be there. If the Ezreal falls behind, Chicken Fried Nuggets are going to have no damage. It'll be all coming from the Olaf, and the Olaf is fairly easily kiteable between Lulu and Vayne and Kale. SMU have got a team that has a lot of ways to deal with what Chicken Fried Rice are going to throw at them. Chicken Fried Rice, that execution has got to be on point.
Yeah. Of course. Chicken Fried Nuggets here, picking up the Malphite. I'm
Chicken Fried Rice. I said Chicken Fried Rice, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
A bunch of times.
I was trying to figure out how to say it without being like, "Ooh, you said the wrong thing," and but it is indeed Chicken Fried Nuggets.
I definitely did that last time I casted these guys too. I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just think Chicken Fried. I think Chicken Fried Rice.
I mean, folks also think Chicken Fried Steak.
Not bad, not bad.
Is also another thing, but yeah, I do. It can kind of be what I don't know. I'm not gonna question folks' naming conventions because I don't know if I could come up with a better name. You know, I'd probably the one time I needed to come up with a team name for a tournament in my back in college days, I was like, I don't know, XX420 Nickelback 6969XX, like it was just a bunch of gobbledygook meant to make people angry. Like, it wasn't actually a good name. So I'm not gonna clown on anyone for picking up names, because a lot of times it's very hard.
Yes, indeed. Okay. So for me, in some ways, this game is reminiscent of last game in that I think a lot of how the early game goes is going to be dependent on the top half of the map. Specifically for Chicken Fried Nuggets this time around, I think they gotta make stuff happen with that Olaf. If Fiddy gets behind, then SMU are going to be able to run over the first 20 minutes of this game.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's up to Olaf to dictate the pace of this game, because if once again, I think SMU has a scaling comp, and if they're allowed to scale, they will absolutely run away with this game.
Well, the thing is,
Vayne carries so much harder than Sivir, and so does Kale.
They've got a scale comp. They've got a scaling comp, but not only they have a scaling comp, but they also have a scaling comp that should win bot lane, I think, in my mind, should win mid lane for sure, 100%, and is safe. Like, their scalar top lane should be pretty safe as well. Like, I think that SMU have basically just outdrafted Chicken Fried Nuggets, which is the opposite of what happened in game one.
Mm-hmm. For sure, but we will see how these two comps put up against each other. Did SMU truly outdraft Chicken Fried Nuggets, or is Chicken Fried Nuggets just going to run over SMU like they did in game one? We'll see in just a little bit as we take a quick break. But when we come right back, we will be on Summoner's Rift with Game 2. Shadow Mustangs Unleashed versus Chicken Fried Nuggets. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are on Summoner's Rift. The line of scrimmage between these two teams across the river has been drawn, and we are into Game 2. Shadow Mustangs Unleashed versus Chicken Fried Nuggets. I am Shinkari, joined once again by Baymax. We are 46 seconds into this game, and it doesn't look like anything too out of the ordinary has popped out to us like there was in the previous game.
Yeah, and this time I think the draft is very in favor of Shadow Mustangs, which is not what we saw in Game 1. I really liked Shadow Mustangs draft. We talked about that a lot in Champ Select. I can sort of go over the highlights here real quick. Boom, Merlin back in the mid lane on the Malzahar, one of his comfort champions. In the bottom lane, Green Ninja's back in that support role where she belongs. I see her do great things in the support role. Mid lane wasn't looking too good for her, so it's great to have Merlin back where he belongs in the mid lane. Green Ninja's back in the support role. One fewer sub. And Dedekin, by the way. Dedekin also, who was the top laner last game for SMU. Didn't look so hot on the Darius. Swapped to AD carry, which is normally where he plays. He's an AD carry main. So people on SMU in their rightful spots. Everyone is where they probably ought to be. And the team comp has so many ways to answer what SMU are trying to do. Where meanwhile, I feel like SMU's win conditions are much more difficult to execute on. I think it's either insane hooks from Paragon or Fiddy's got to just like pop off early. And if those things don't happen, then SMU might find themselves in the position that the Nuggets were in game 1, where they just can't get a foothold anywhere on the map.
Yeah, for sure. And right off the bat, we do see Slick Drake just trying to just survive in these early levels here. I don't think Malphite has a particularly good early game, but when you're laning against Kale, you have to make sure you're bullying as much as possible and denying her experience by zoning. And he's doing a pretty good job of it so far. Mid lane, Merlin doing a great job of pressuring this Vigar. Insanely easy, though. We talked about the comfort pick, and here he is right on top of it. So expect to see more of that. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, looks pretty even across the table. So already a great early game for everyone across the board here. Junglers looking for their full clears, it looks like, and everything looking pretty good so far.
Everything's looking good. Topside Wokian looking like he's going for a gank. Hookless Thresh is a bit extended.
Yeah, Wokian charging up the fear. He already dashes behind, pours Hookless Thresh to fear towards the river here. It's too bad Slick Drake is so far away. They're going to force away the flash. And that's going to be a very, very good gank for Wokian in the top side here.
Yeah, normally you don't want to play for a Kayle lane, but Hookless Thresh playing pretty disrespectful with the jungler so far away. Fiddy is going to hop on this Rift Scuttler and probably take it away from Wokian. I don't think you can contest that if you're that werewolf.
Yeah, the funny thing is that both of these junglers are very good at low HP, but it looks like that's going to be the Rift Scuttle picked up by the blue side here, as we have 3 folks helping out the 2 folks helping out the Olaf here, trying to pick it up. Wokian just going to go back into the jungle and pick up the Krugs.
Yeah, gonna take a consolation prize. You got Hookless Thresh's flash, but you lost Scuttle Crab for it. So good job by Fiddy to punish Wokian for showing him the top side of the map, causing him to lose not just 1 but 2 Scuttle Crabs. Bottom lane, Green Ninjas eats a hook to the face, gonna have to flash away.
Yeah, that is very huge, because heal was also spent on Die Taken there. That is 2 pretty big resources being used in the bottom lane here just to get away from a Blitzcrank hook, which is going to be back up pretty soon too. So we're gonna have to watch for the next hook, because that is going to be very huge here.
Oh, Green Ninja's up pretty far again. The hook goes wide. Doesn't quite land onto anyone, but like you said, hook cooldown much lower than a flash cooldown. Green Ninja's got to be very careful. I want to talk about this top lane a little bit more, because you mentioned it. The Malphite can certainly bully the Kayle a little bit early on in the game, but take a look at the CS numbers, right? Off that gank, Hookless Thresh got to play so much safer now. Got to play so much more careful, and Slick Drake building up a massive CS lead. And Malphite can only bully Kayle for so long. Once Kayle gets level 6, gets some range on her auto attacks, it becomes much harder to match the Kayle in the 1v1.
Yeah, we already see a bit of the harassment already starting to come out here. Kayle is almost level 6. She's also 2 levels up on this Malphite here. Malphite losing a whole lot, trying to help with the Scuttle Crab and also with the gank as well. So this is a lot of tools for us to use. Die Taken, punishing Revive Paragon here for going a little too deep for the hook. A lot of damage being pushed out here. And you know, we talked about this. I talked about this a bit with Thousand Eyes. You can't really underestimate the amount of damage that Vayne can put out even early on. She's not so much of a late game champion as she is a right now champion, as Thousand Eyes likes to say.
Vayne is pretty good at all stages of the game, especially if you're talking about an Ezreal being the AD carry that you're playing against. Like, Ezreal's DPS output, that hook was kind of close. Ezreal's damage output, not particularly high. He's more item reliant than I would say Vayne is, although Vayne is pretty item reliant too. Both AD carries not... When you have 2 AD carries like this who don't like to get their hands dirty too much early game, you gotta always look towards the supports, right? And Lulu adds a lot more if the hook doesn't land than a Blitzcrank. And Revive Paragon's hooks, for the most part, have been going wide here.
Yeah, and this is Die Taken trying to capitalize on the fact that he does not have a hook anymore, but he does have a punch. Is going to knock him into the air, going to pop the Ignite as well, but they're just going to back off. and just deal with just taking out the ignite from the Blitzcrank here.
I want to point out, Dragon has been started up by Fiddy. Wokian's on the top side of the map, mid lane pressure. Surprisingly, Merlin losing a little bit of control over this mid lane, actually down a little bit in CS to the Vigar, which is very surprising to see. So some good news mid lane for SMU means that they are able to sort of walk in and take this Dragon really for nothing. 6.5 minutes in, a fairly early first Dragon, and SMU are off to a pretty good start in all honesty.
Yeah, it really is CFN picking up some early leads here. Very, very good job. It's a very good sneak as well. Revive Paragon not getting the hook he was looking for. Maybe the bot lane just going a little too deep as here comes the flash in from Olaf. He's taken incredibly low here. The unstoppable does not mean unkillable. First blood is going to go over to Ezreal, but the return kill is going to go over to Lulu in the bot side.
Yeah, that was a pretty late Ragnarok from Fiddy that I think honestly probably cost him his life. Still though, a 1-for-1 with the kill going onto the Ezreal versus the Lulu. I think you take those if you're SMU. Although good news for Didakin is he's not going to miss too much CS for dying there. Just about one wave going to die to that turret, nothing more. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Wokian did manage to trade away the Wolves from Fiddy, I believe. So denying at least something. He's actually looking for an invade here. Gromp spawned. Fiddy is back on the top side of the map. Gonna spot out a ward that Wokian just dropped.
Yeah, Wokian. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Merlin is getting caught out here. A whole lot of damage. He has popped the ignite as well. And that's going to be Poskinator picking up the kill in the mid lane. We did see a little bit of a roam from Revive Paragon here, and that was a very good roam as well. And forced out the spell shield pretty early on, trapped him in the cage, and was able to get a huge chunk of damage. Not really a whole lot to return. So big pickup for Poskinator here.
Good news for SMU, right? I would never have expected Poskinator to be the one with pressure on the Vigar in the mid lane. Top lane, the hookless thresh not faring so well. Might have to ult out. No, he's got a teleport from Poskinator, keeping him alive. I don't think that was worth it, actually. I think he just burned the ultimate, to be honest.
Yeah, as well. And this is going to be a pretty big thing for Merlin in the mid lane. Malzahar is very good at pushing waves, and thus and because of that, very good at pushing turrets. So losing a decent chunk of experience for Vigar here with not a whole lot in return. Definitely a blunder for Chicken Fried Nuggets here.
A little bit of a blunder. Teleport basically wasted, but now Poskinator looking for a gank.
Yeah, Merlin is stunned up here, and here comes Fiddy in from the side. There's the Axe Toss, gonna get a huge chunk of damage. Merlin trying to get a return kill, but he's already flashed away. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Wokian is going to be able to get the Fear, and the Unstoppable is going to be used by Hookless Thresh as well. He's gonna get away ultimate for ultimate in the top lane, but I would argue that that Unstoppable Force is just a little bit more valuable.
Well, it depends, right? If you're making a play mid lane, by all means, use that Unstoppable Force. You're trading it for a kill, basically. But now Poskinator going to get traded back. That cage can only protect you for so long.
Oh, my God. That's so funny. I love Warwick so much. He's so fast, dodging around that cage. Going to be able to pick up the kill. That's a really, really good pickup for Wokian here.
Yeah, and excellent for Fiddy to have picked up a kill for himself, though. So both junglers started trading one kill for one kill. Now, I think that's better for SMU because we mentioned it earlier. Their win condition primarily is Fiddy. They need Forgotten Shot to be scaling, which he's doing. He's up CS on Didakin. That's all the Ezreal. That's all you can really expect or want from the Ezreal. Mid lane, Poskinator is defying expectations, controlling the wave better than Merlin, having a bit higher CS than Merlin. And altogether just performing pretty well on the Vigar pick and having more pressure than I would expect. And then Fiddy, who is the early game threat, he's popping off a little bit. He got a kill for himself. He's pretty strong. He's getting close to his first item. SMU are executing. Ooh, oh my God. I did not think that would have
pick
damage.
Up for Chicken Fried Nuggets there. That's going to be a sneaky Ezreal ultimate going to pick up the kill on the Vayne, and that is so huge as now they're able to pick up maybe a couple plates here, maybe even 3, as Lulu is the only person here to defend the turret against an Ezreal and a Blitzcrank.
Chicken Fried Nuggets are executing better than expected basically everywhere except top lane. Top lane, Hookless getting punished.
Yeah, Merlin already just easily stunned up, easily with the follow-up for Olaf here. Meanwhile, on the top lane, that's going to be Slick Drake helping Wokian pick up the kill in the top lane. It's going to be a 1-for-1 across the map.
Give the kill to the Kale, Wokian. Give it to the Kale. Let Slick Drake come online. I feel like at this point, SMU's best chance of winning this game is skyrocketing this Kale to her second and third item as quickly as possible by feeding her some of these kills going down to the top lane. But unfortunately, that hasn't been happening. Slick Drake's got pretty good CS, but in terms of kill gold, he has been starved thus far this game, despite having a couple of ganks go his way. He is going to be picking up some turret flooding gold, so that is good news for SMU. But overall, I think Chicken Fried Nuggets still in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, for sure. Already up about 1,000 gold and a Drake so far in this game, and they've already dealt a decent chunk of damage to SMU's turrets here as well. So Wokian, I feel like as long as he continues to put pressure in the top lane and just kind of leaves bot lane alone, I mean, even though it kind of sucks to hear that as a Vayne player, I feel like making Kale the win condition now instead of the Vayne is a great adaptation for them in order to get back into this game.
I mean, Vayne is not even that great into Chicken Fried Nuggets comp. Like, there's so many ways to get on top of the Vayne. If your mechanics are not 100% on point, like, sure, all of it is outplayable, right? Unstoppable force, you can flash, you can dodge the hooks, but
yeah, Wokian might having to fight hookless Thresh here. They're going back and forth on the Shelly. There's going to be unstoppable force. He's going to be ultimate up by Kale here, healed for a bunch, but now it is 3v2 in the top lane. Merlin trying to come in and help, but he's really far away. Wokian trying to heal back up, but it's not going to be enough. Merlin on the side here. He does have his ultimate available, but he's not in range. There's the flash, there's the suppress, and there's a huge chunk of damage. Kale picks up a kill for herself, and now Malphite is insanely low. Merlin looking for the kill, is going to find Vigar instead across this tri-brush here. He's going to land the silence, going to look for a little bit more damage, but here goes Vigar with one more auto attack. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Taken is going to fight Ezreal underneath the bot lane, going to find the kill. Meanwhile, Slick Drake is 1v3ing in this top lane here, but he's going to walk into the stun cage at just the last second. He's going to go down. Hookless Thresh picking up a kill for himself.
Hookless Thresh, he gets the last kill, but I think the highlights of that fight are SMU getting 2 kills on Slick Drake, bot lane, Daitakin burning flash and heal to solo kill Forgotten Shot, and then dying to turret. At the end of the day, I think that was a 3 for 3 across the map, but it would have been it was close to being really good for Chicken Fried Nuggets, and mostly off of the mid lane pressure, right? Herald got stolen, picked up by Poskinator, and it ended up getting picked up by Fiddy, but like the actual kill gold went to Poskinator, stealing that away. So the objective game, Chicken Fried Nuggets coming out a little bit on top, now securing vision control over this bottom side of the rift. I feel like mid lane is sort of the crux of everything that's happening right now. I think Poskinator having control and being able to shove in and get pressure on Merlin is what's enabling so many of these fights to go pretty well for Chicken Fried Nuggets. Now, Herald dropped on the bottom side of the map. Bot lane turret is not long for this world. Wokian is top lane, can maybe look for a dive on the Hookless Thresh, but there is no Valkyrie available for a dive to come through.
Yeah, this is just a huge pickup for Chicken Fried Nuggets here. Just a huge swing in their favor, opening up Blitzcrank to roam around these more kills. Oh no, Wokian caught out by Poskinator here. Here comes the unstoppable force. He's taken very low. He's going to be fearing the Malphite, going to try to jump over the wall, but it's not going to be enough. The ultimate coming down from Vigar is going to pick up the kill in the top lane.
Top lane going badly now for Chicken Fried Nuggets. Slick Drake still high on HP on this turret, whacking away at it. But Wokian getting too greedy in the jungle, not respecting Poskinator, dying in the 2 versus 1 collapse. And now mid lane, Merlin got the spell shield popped. Revive Paragon is here again. I've seen this movie before. I know how it ends, but not this time. Twist ending. Hook doesn't come out. Merlin's going to be okay for now.
Oh, no! Merlin's going to be hooked directly into the cage. He's going to try to get a return kill, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to be another kill going over to the Vigar.
Oh my god, another kill onto the Vigar. Poskinator is huge. These plays mid lane from Revive Paragon have got to be tilting Merlin, but at least on the top side of the map, SMU knock down their very first turret of the game after Kraken Slayer has been picked up for Slick Drake. So the Kale is quite strong, but can Slick Drake out carry the rest of the map when Merlin is so far behind? Forgotten Shot is so far ahead. It's not just mid lane that's falling behind for SMU, it's bottom lane as well. This spot laner turret is almost dead. It's clinging to life by what, 200 HP, 300? That's it. Next dragon spawning onto the rift as well. Chicken fried nuggets are going to be threatening Dragon Soul in in about 5 minutes. If they can pick this next dragon up, things are not looking good for SMU. It would be that's an understatement. Things are looking pretty bad for SMU. And this is the game that I thought they might be able to bring it back. They got Merlin mid lane, they got Green Ninjas in the bottom lane, they got Daitakin in the AD carry role, but SMU just can't seem to bring it together.
Yeah, and Slick Drake is ahead. We do see him roaming around with his team on the bottom side here. This is what I do love to see when you have a top laner who is ahead by immediately roaming around with the team. This is also a level 11 Kale. Wokian looking for the kill on a Aposkinator here, and he might have found it. He did miss the ultimate, but he's already putting a huge chunk of damage on a Aposkinator here, forced to go golden, and now he's in the middle of the Blitzcrank as well. The Ezreal ultimate comes across, but it's going to go a little bit wide, where Green Ninja is going to be pulled into the team, but immediately flash away, and now the rest of the team is peeling backwards, trying to get more tempo towards themselves. The fight that's going to be the unstoppable force, but it's not going to land on anyone. Wokian going to get turned around. That's going to be a first kill going on to Daitakin, and he's looking for more on the honey. He's going to put up against the wall. Slick Drake going to find another kill. Poskinator now looking for more. Maybe it's going to be the flash. That's going to be the suppress. That's a huge amount of damage. It's going to be the shutdown going on to Daitakin, and this is the fight that SMU was looking for.
It's the fight SMU was looking for, hand-delivered to them on a silver platter by Hookless Thresh. I'm sorry, but you threw everything away there. Poskinator had...
Oh no, forgotten shot. Picking up a consolation prize for himself. Another kill onto Merlin here. He is worth gold again, but Daitakin trying to look for more here. Maybe you've overstepped. Here comes the unstoppable Ragnarok, but that's already a huge chunk of damage. Daitakin is already taken down as well. Forgotten shot looking for more. He's now going to be finding a decent chunk of damage on the Green Ninjas, but they're both going to back away. Here comes the shot as well. Wokian looking for more as well. That's going to be the flash. That's going to be the fear. Here's a huge chunk of damage from Forgotten shot, taking so incredibly low, but that's going to be a Blitzcrank on the side. The Wild Growth is going to make Warwick huge, and now the rest of the team is looking to collapse once again, and SMU running for their lives. Wokian with an inch, just a little bit less. Hookless Thresh going to pick up the kill with throwing a boulder. That's going to be a kill going over to Chicken Fried Nuggets.
Does the fighting ever end? Bottom lane turret, Slick Drake split pushing that one down, but mid lane, Chicken Fried Nuggets did win a very strange extended fight and picked off a mid lane turret of their own. So turret game 1 for 1. SMU did still manage to win that dragon team fight and pick up that dragon, which I was gonna flame Hookless Thresh for. I don't know if I got it in me anymore.
No.
Daitakin getting caught in the cage, face checking into his own jungle and getting one shot. And this is the reality check for SMU, because yes, you won that team fight over Dragon, but you have got to still play safe. You are still behind. The only reason you won that fight is because Hookless Thresh flashed forward, missed an ultimate anyway, and did all of it before Poskinator had time to back and reset with teleport, which he did have, as he had just been poked out, right? Poskinator had just been poked out, had teleport, could have recalled, gotten back on the map. That's when you pull the trigger. Wait till your Vigar is back. So anyway, I digress. That's enough playing of Hookless Thresh. It happens. It does. Like I don't want to be too mean, but that was what happened. But at the same time, that is not likely to throw the entire game. SMU, you got to remember, you're still behind. You can still lose. You can still get one shot by the Vigar. His 6 kills didn't go anywhere. And Merlin did burn Flash in the last fight as well. And a Malzahar without Flash is a lot less scary, because he cannot suppress you from 10 miles away anymore, only from 5 miles away.
I will say also that SMU has been making a lot of decisions without placing wards. We take a look at the warding here, and you know, we saw Daitakin walk into that brush without any vision in it, just kind of blind checking it. And sure, they're sweeping for wards here now that they know that they might be looking for an objective. But before they ganked the mid lane, no wards in the top side river. They were trying to walk around in their own jungle with no defensive wards, even though they knew Olaf was around the corner. You know, they gotta be just warding just a little bit better across this game, and it seems like the only people warding is Lulu with her support item and her red trinket, and that's it. Meanwhile, Poskinator might have found out Wokian here. Ian doing his best to dodge around. Let's see if he can find the fear. He is able to find it. 3 members, but there's the rest of the team. He's going to go immediately down. Here comes the Unstoppable Force directly onto Kale. That's going to be the Wild Growth as well. He's stunned up inside the cage. He's going to be pulled into the backline here. So much has been used to find that kill onto Slick Drake, and it's going to be found. Meanwhile, they're losing turrets across the map. SMU is going to use this opportunity to back off, and maybe they're going to start Baron.
Yeah, SMU or Chicken Fried Nuggets ended up trading top lane turret for bot lane turret and winning a pretty important team fight, because now Fiddy has started up this Baron, although it is not dying very quickly, right? Forgotten Shot hung around top lane, clearing that next wave. He's now arrived at the Baron, helping out as well as he can. So this Baron is beginning to fall and will go down in favor of Chicken Fried Nuggets. 22 minutes into this game, this Baron is going to extend the gold lead to like 6,000 again.
Yeah, we did see a bit of an answer from SMU there, but I think they might have spotted out Vigar walking towards them, because there was a blue ward placed on Baron. The second they saw that, Poskinator started moving into the jungle just a little bit more, knowing that he could one-shot whoever came close, and that was enough to scare SMU off of contesting the Baron. So now Baron buff is owned by Chicken Fried Nuggets, and let's see how they use it.
Yeah, and SMU trying to establish vision control over this dragon while Baron was being taken, but Dragon hasn't spawned yet, and there's plenty of time for Chicken Fried Nuggets to get on scene. Although if they do face check this Death Bush, that would be bad news for the Nuggets. Yeah. Teleport from Hookless Thresh means that's not especially likely. Although so far, SMU haven't been caught out. They haven't been spotted. Here they are.
Yep, they are spotted. There's the cage. It's not going to find anyone, but it is a good line of scrimmage here. Revive Paragon, not going to land anything with the hook here, and that's not going to be the engage from SMU, but it is going to be the engage from Chicken Fried Nuggets as they get a pretty good return kill here. This guy's going to be a hook onto Die Taken, but he's going to kite backwards as much as he can. Poskinator throwing out his muscle with those spells, and that is going to be an ace. A 2 for 5 in favor of Chicken Fried Nuggets here. Now they have a Baron buff. Now they got 3 Drakes, and now they're up over an ace over their opponents.
Yeah, like you said, it wasn't just the Baron. It wasn't just a team fight. Dragon picked up as well. So Dragon Soul being threatened now in the next 4 minutes or so. Mid lane under siege. Nobody alive from SMU to defend against this push. And Baron buff means these cannon minions hurt. These caster minions hurt. These turrets are melting. Members of SMU are coming back to life, but mid lane inhibitor, not long for this world. It's taken down to an axe from Fiddy, excuse me, and the rest of Chicken Fried Nuggets, they back off. They're going to take away what's left of the top side jungle of SMU.
Yeah, and something important to note is we see a lot of casters talk about, we need to see them do something with this Baron buff more than just take that middle inhibitor. We need to see them kind of split into these other lanes in order to push the pressure that they currently have, but maybe they might have found out another person here. Warwick going to flash over the wall here. They're going to be able to find Poskinator here. The Wild Growth is going to keep Woki into the life for a little bit longer, but here comes Slick Drake in from the side, immediately going to take down Ezreal there. That is now 2 for 0 across the map, and this might be SMU showing signs of life.
Yeah, Chicken Fried Nuggets, they get too greedy. They hang around too long. Poskinator and Forgotten Shot trying to one-shot somebody from Fog of War, but they were on vision. They got face-checked, Wokinator running them down, and it's so hard to play greedy like that when you're playing against a freaking Malzahar. Not just Malzahar, right? Warwick as well, 2 long-term significant suppresses from the side of SMU. If you do get caught, you're just gonna die. You gotta play safe. And SMU, not SMU, Chicken Fried Nuggets are getting punished for it, right? Top lane turret maybe gonna go down, or at least some minions are gonna die to it. A little bit of shutdown gold going over to the carries of SMU, but for now, nothing too serious. Baron was off the table, hasn't respawned yet. Dragon just got killed by Chicken Fried Nuggets, so there's no big objectives in play for SMU to take, but it's a nice reminder that Vayne and Malzahar and Kale are getting stronger, and they can still look to make things happen.
Yeah, we finally see Kale come on, I don't want to say finally come online, but she is continuing to be a threat across this entire map. When you have an attack speed champion with teleport, the only thing they should be doing is going into these side lanes and pressuring the turrets as much as possible. And that's what we've seen Slick Drake been doing this whole time. We did see him go up into the top lane here, so it will be interesting to see how he continues to push this advantage onto Kale. We do see just a bunch more items coming across for most folks, and we do see Chicken Fried Nuggets now pushing their advantage in the bot lane here.
Yes, Chicken Fried Nuggets are they're trying to actually happen in the bot lane. Their Baron buff, if it hasn't run out yet, is about to run out. I think it has run out though. Yeah, it hasn't. Baron buff gone. Bot lane turret is gonna go down. But how long is it? Let me check the objective timers. It's a minute and a half till next Baron. I'm surprised to see Chicken Fried Nuggets with burning so much tempo down here.
Yeah, I mean, usually you'll see folks do a 3-1-3-1 when they have a Baron buff, but with the Baron buff run out, they're gonna just say, hey, we have a lot more gold than our opponents. Let's just 5-man the spot side turret and let mid push itself.
Which may end up being a mistake because this turret is not taking much damage. And meanwhile, this is valuable time that if you're Chicken Fried Nuggets, you could have been setting up on the Baron, but they're setting up on Slick Drake instead.
Yeah, Slick Drake forced to use the ultimate here and now going to be able to get away. Wokian here for a little bit of help, but the fear's not going to land onto anyone. And now 5v5, now jockeying for any sort of position. Wokian forced to use 2 ultimates, Wild Growth, and also the Infinite Duress as well, which is 2 really, really big team fight things here. Oh, we might have found a suppress onto Ezreal here, but it looks like the kill's going to go onto Blitzcrank instead as Ezreal goes down. Excuse me? It must have been Leandri's
and Demonic Embrace is a crazy amount of damage. And Chicken Fried Nuggets, they push too far. They get caught out right before their Dragon Soul spawns. There's no way you can contest this. Your AD carry is dead. Your Blitzcrank is dead. You've got to get out of here. But Pockinator looking for Daikin.
Oh, no. He's taking so much damage. He's condemned up against the wall. Bane's going to heal back up. That is definitely not what you want to be seeing on your carry this late in the game. And that's going to be another Dragon going over to SMU here, and a pretty important one at that.
That teleport top lane from Hookless Thresh. What are you doing, bro? You're a Malphite. You can't take that turret. Merlin applying some Demonic Embrace damage over time, making Hookless Thresh rethink his actions. Their second Cloud Dragon of the game picked up by SMU. A pause starting to come through now, unfortunately.
Yeah, just a little bit of connection issues for their top laner, but I did really want to talk about that play really quickly. Even though Hookless Thresh did teleport into that top lane and try to sneak a turret on a champion that doesn't take turrets very well, he did force out 2 teleports. Slick Drake and Merlin were both used their teleports in order to respond to that play. So even though he didn't find the turret, he did find some 2 very important summoner spells.
Yeah, although a risky maneuver, because if SMU had wanted to and they had a ward anywhere in their jungle, that teleport could have meant death for Hookless Thresh, right? He gets caught way far up away from his turret, but he is gonna get out alive, and he, like you said, net outcome as he burns 2 teleports for just his 1. Also worth mentioning, Daidakin and Slick Drake not likely to have flash for a Baron fight that's going to happen in the near future. Meanwhile, Forgotten Shot, who is pretty much transitioning into being the prime carry for this team, he's picked up his 3rd item on this Ezreal. He's going to have flash available for the next team fight. He is ridiculously strong. Up a level on Daidakin, up 2 levels on Wokian, and 3 on Green Ninjas. I think he's tied for highest level in the game as an 80 carry. That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I also have to ask, am I really missing something? Am I crazy? This is the second 80 carry, ranged carry I've seen build Duskblade of Drekthar, and I'm fairly certain don't you build Trinity? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Is this what people build on Ezreal now? Am I a boomer? Am I so far behind the times that I don't know? What is happening?
We're looking up. I'm pretty sure that is actually good on Ezreal, but I'm gonna Ezreal pro builds. We're gonna quick see how many are building Dusk.
Hello, Desk. Can we get a look on what this Duskblade of Drekthar is on this Ezreal?
Ezreal is like 100% of people are building it. Usually second or third item. Usually
That
secondary
is
item.
so odd.
I mean,
So odd
I think
to
it makes
me.
sense, right? I can guess why. I don't really know for sure, but part of why might be because Duskblade gives you that stealth passive. Don't forget, after you get a kill or an assist on somebody within the last 3 seconds that you've touched them, that is huge for Ezreal. That allows him to play so much more aggressive. You got Arcane Shift that unlocks Arcane Shift into this like crazy aggressive tool that you can use to shift forward, look for a kill, and still be safe if you pick up that kill, because you go poof, invisible into the ether and you're gone, right? That allows Ezreal to just be this giant threat. Now Baron in the sights of both teams. Pixel Bush being baited.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's going to immediately bait out 3 ultimates here onto Wokian as he take incredibly low here. He's going to be the first to fall in this team fight. Is now a 4v5, and that might be another Baron pickup for CFN as they continue their push here.
I think SMU are going to try to fight it, but they're down 3 ultimates, and the Baron is melting so quick.
Yeah, it's going down so quickly. They're just going to pick it up. Are they pushing mid here? They are pushing. They're trying to get something off of that Baron play here, but they are running. They're running for their lives here. They have to run. Die taken, running away. There's a back started for Lulu here. Rest of the team is looking for them. They might have spotted them out. Merlin just a little too far forward. He might fall to a Blitzcrank hook if he's not
Slick's got no ulti.
Forgotten Shot might also take down Slick Drake here, and meanwhile Die Taken gets revived Paragon and Fiddy here. Not going to be able to find the kill on the Blitzcrank. The Vigar is going to be able to find the kill on the Slick Drake. That is disastrous.
Yeah, this could be really, really bad for SMU. 2 members, their key scaling late game members dead. Where's the damage going to come from? There's no more Daikin, there's no more Slick Drake. Baron buff on everybody for SMU. The teleport is coming through from Postinator fresh off a recall with full HP. This could be the end of the game.
Yeah, this is 5v2 here. 5v3 here, and the one Nexus turret goes down. Here comes the Unstoppable Force. He's going to knock Green Ninjas into the air. Here comes the suppression response, but Forgotten Shots has already taken down Wokian, and they're already so low. Green Ninja's immediately going to be taken down by Forgotten Shot here. Now Merlin is the target, but the Nexus is going to go down instead. Game 2 being picked up by Chicken Fried Nuggets, and that's going to be the game, set, and match.
Significantly less clean than game 1, but a win nonetheless for the Chicken Fried Nuggets. 2-0. They take down SMU. And in terms of like rankings of the teams in Style Esports, that's kind of nuts, because I mentioned at the start of the cast, I don't know if I mentioned it since then, but prior to this game, SMU was ranked 17th on the ladder in this league. Chicken Fried Nuggets ranked 41st. This might be one of the biggest upsets we've seen all season in terms of the ladder in Style Esports. Now, that being said, there were some mitigating factors, right? SMU had some subs, although in this game, 1 fewer sub. Merlin was back, who is one of the key carries for this team. Still didn't have, keep it real, that great of a performance on the Malzahar, which is one of the key champions that SMU looked to prioritize and look to get their hands on for a composition to work for them. And it got punished. It got worked around. Chicken Fried Nuggets looking surprisingly good.
Yeah, and even in the early game, there were so many advantages that SMU had, and there were a lot of times where I was just like, oh yeah, they totally got this. Like Kale is scaling, Vayne might be falling behind, but is still holding her own, and there's a lot of fights where they came out on top even though they were behind, but they're losing a lot of times because they don't have vision. There's so many times where they went blind into team fights or blind into some of their own jungle, and they were caught out. They were immediately removed, and that was what happened. That turned a lot of team fights. We saw Vayne die in her own jungle after face checking a brush. We saw even that last team fight, we saw them face check a pixel brush and immediately have to spend 3 ultimates and not even get into flash as well, and not even get away. So this is if something SMU needs to be fixing in the future, just warding.
Yeah, and I would say around the mid lane as well, I'm not sure what happened exactly, but maybe Merlin just out of practice didn't get to play game 1, didn't get his fingers warmed up before hitting the rift. But I really do think that is a matchup that in no way, shape, or form should Malzahar ever lose. And Postinator having pressure in that mid lane early on was a big help towards Chicken Fried Nuggets making this game and getting this game to turn into a win. So I'm not sure what SMU should look to do to fix that. If it was just an off day for Merlin, because normally he looks pretty good on the Malzahar, and he's good with the champion and into almost anybody, much less a favorable matchup. So
yeah, for sure. But with that, we are going to call it a night. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. And for myself, my fellow caster, Baymax, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Make sure, if you haven't already, press that follow button for more League of Legends every day here at Style Esports. And we'll see you guys all later. Bye-bye.